so I know it's been a while, but I'm finally back with another review. I've been kind of busy on my other channel I started with the Legos called Lego My Legos. If you'd like to take a look, it's documenting some of my Lego builds, including some cool time lapses of that process. But anyway, you're here for the trains, and so this is what I got today. It's this giant, ugly looking thing. I used a randomized generator to determine which train to review next, and that's what this came up with. So we'll get into the specifics here. I don't even know if this runs because I bought this at a train show over a year and a half ago, and I think I tried it once when I got home, and then it's been just in the display case ever since. So I haven't even tried it yet, but we're gonna put it on the track and see what happens. Alright, well, here it is all set up. Like I said, I have not run this at all, so I have no idea what to expect here. I didn't even fiddle with the gears or anything or oil it up. We're going to run it raw, so I don't even know if it's going to move. It's definitely an older one, and I'll get into a little more backstory here in a second, but we're just going to see if it works right now. Oops, that's reverse. So how about that? It works. And it pulls that train with ease. I wasn't sure if this was too long for it or what, but we'll see what happens when it gets to the hill. You can hear it struggle just a little, but it's not slowing it down too much, so that's a good sign. Look at that, they even got two front lights, which I didn't even know. Haha, well it works. Works better than I had thought or remembered. So that's awesome. Background on this one, like I said, I got it at a train show with two others. One guy had a booth full of good stuff. The price was certainly right, I'll get into that later. But I got this one with this guy, which seems like a piece of junk, and this cool little old school steam engine. So we'll look at those at a later time, but just wanted to tell the story of how I got into this one. Now, when it comes to the look, that's actually what drew me to it to begin with, because I've just never really seen anything like this. I'm sure they're out there, but just how big it is and scale-wise compared to everything else. Like, here's another UP, what I would call normal size. And just look at the difference. It's quite impressive of how bigger this guy is, because, like I said, the scale is off the chain. Even though I'm sure it's built to scale. I guess I should say it's the tallness of it, because it's about the same length, but it's just so much taller than everything else, comparatively. And I'm sure it's the tallest engine I have, you know, tracks to height. And while the look of it is kind of big and beastly and quite frankly ugly, I still love it, and I still think it looks good for what it is, and I gave it a 7. As, you know, even from the details perspective too, it's not too bad, and I love the wheels on the bottom. I got lots over there. You know, if I flip it around here, it just looks. It looks. I don't want to say good overall, but there's just something to it that draws me to it, and seems pretty neat for you know, to give a 7. Materials. I think it's pretty good. At first glance, I thought it'd be really cheap. when I first saw it, but picking it up and playing around with it, like first of all, it's heavy. This is probably one of the heaviest engines I have. It's easily close to half a pound, which kind of led me to believe when I saw it, I didn't think it was going to work for a couple of reasons too, especially at the price point that I was able to get it at, which again, I'll get to later. But, you know, just kind of playing around with it and feeling it up, it's some pretty decent high quality material. Now, it's all plastic, but it's like the super heavy duty type of plastic. Even these railings are super thick and high quality, to the point where I gave it a 7 on that too. Nothing from what I've seen is cheaped out. Now, as for who makes this, I'm not too sure. There's no branding on the side. All I know is it says Japan on the bottom. So, you know, who knows what this is. There was no original box either. But hey, you know, whatever it is, it works. And they did a good job. So again, for the uniqueness of it all, I do think it's fairly unique. Like I said, I haven't seen really any other type like this in N scale or even in real life, really. I mean, I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure it's a real car or a real train, but it seems rare to me, so I gave it a 9. Because, like I said, I haven't really seen anything since or before I purchased this. It's definitely unique for me, especially as how tall it is compared to everything else. So, you know, that's what I gave it. What's interesting too about these wheels are the undercarriage. They seem to be like all daisy chained together, which is, again, I think a unique feature. I can get it in focus there. Again, something you don't really see too often, especially on these models, but just something cool and unique I thought I'd point out. Now the noise level, you heard it, it is not the most quietest engine in the world, and quite frankly I did not expect it to be, given how old it appears and just how big it is. You're definitely going to hear this thing coming. I gave it a 2 because it's not like a piercing motor going bad screech. It's like just the way it was designed. So I didn't give it the full marks off because it's not the worst in the world, but it's not quiet by any means, for sure. Power just seems to be average. It doesn't take too much to get going, but it also doesn't take very little. Kind of right down the middle in terms of the scale, with leaning on the good side of things, because it did seem to get full speed, you know, chugging speed, not too far up the dial. So I gave that a 7 as well for how much power it consumes. For the engine's strength, you know, I think I'm not giving this thing as justice. I said in the beginning that I didn't want to put too many cars behind it because I was afraid it wasn't able to pull money. But after running it around some and doing, especially with the train I had there in the video, I think it can pull a lot more. And just kind of holding the engine itself, it definitely has some strength behind it. I'm giving it an 8, as this thing is a workhorse. That I can tell. Alright, now we're gonna try our world famous slow crawl test here. Let me get it down to speed. How slow can you go? About there, and it stops until I jerk it forward. Alright, I think that's about as slow as it will go. It's really struggling, and it stopped around the corner. Not the best in the world, as you can tell. I'm giving it a 2, because it can at least do it. Some engines can't even do it. But it really struggles. It's a good sound, though. Sounds like a train. Sounds more like a steam engine. Anyways, let's see what happens when you really crank it up. Woo! That sucker can move. Wonder how we're doing the race. I didn't have this when I did that race with all my engines. For any derailment problems, none to speak of. These big old wheels tend to stay on the track pretty well. I am giving it a 7, mainly because it's kind of hard to get on, especially with all the wheels moving around, and like I said before, the little daisy chain caterpillar wheelbase there. But that's not that big of a deal, but it will take it back a little bit in this rating. But once it's on, it's solid. It ain't going anywhere. Because especially for that weight, I think it's really helping keep the train on the tracks. Problems. I've had 0, amazingly. It does have a little paint tick mark up in the front, but that just kind of gives it some old school patina. So I'm not too concerned with that. In fact, I give it a perfect 10 because I've had no problems with this, surprisingly. I thought I was going to have a whole heap of them when I bought it, but no. It worked out pretty darn good. Ah yes, what did I pay for this? I've been kind of holding out for this section because I didn't want to spoil the surprise. As I stated earlier, I did get this at a train show with 2 others, but this one costed me 20 bucks, if you can believe it. And I think it's well worth more than that. I do know it's kind of old, so that's probably pulling down some pricing. If I had to guess, early 90s maybe? It could be from the 80s as well. I don't really know, obviously, since especially I don't even know what it is, who makes it brand-wise. But, you know, $20 for this, for what it does, it's pretty good. I gave this a 9 on the deal scale because it's well worth $20. And the only reason I didn't give it a full 10 is probably because of its piercing noise. If it was like whisper quiet, it would be amazing. But you know, for what it does, it pulls with ease. You know, it runs great. It looks good. You know, what more do you want? For $20? Yeah, that's an amazing deal. So, you know, 9, well worth it. And I'm happy to get this one. Cause it's been a ton of fun, and I'm surprised I haven't really run it more often. Cause it can definitely do it. I think it's the noise quality that really kind of shied me away from that, when I first got it, but, love the patina, love the look. It's, like I said, so beastly. Definitely worth the $20 that I paid. So, I was half thinking of, selling this right after I did a review, but I'm kind of thinking now that I play with it more, I kind of want to keep it and not sell it back to the wild. So, I think at least for now, it's gonna stay with me, and I'm probably gonna use it some if I can deal with the noise. Okay, well there you go. Comes in at 68, which is a tick over the average of 65 of all the ones I've done so far. So it barely beats average, which quite frankly I was not expecting that at all. I thought this would be in the bottom of the barrel. Like I said, I haven't used this for a year and a half, and I thought it wasn't going to work too well, but it surprised even me. So it worked out pretty good. Hey, it's above average. Hopefully you enjoyed this little review here, and hey, let me know your thoughts below if you like it or hate it or have something similar. Like I said, I thought this was a fairly unique one, so I thought I'd show it off for sure on this channel. Looks like I've done 28 reviews so far, but I do have 57 engines to get through. So I'm a little over halfway, or Alexa, what's 28 times 2?
28 times 2 is 56.
Actually, I'm not even halfway. But anyway, more to come, and I'm always looking for more, so who knows what future purchases might be out there. I am in the market for Atomic's Twilight, the new one that came out last year, I think. Just waiting for the right price and the right opportunity, but that one definitely is on, has my eye. So we'll see about that. In the meantime, I have some other cool Atomics ones I'll review at some point. Like I said, I kind of do this at random and when I can, because you know it takes a while to pull these together, and I'm always working on other projects. So yeah, stay tuned for more. Certainly more to come.